wind howled through the broken panes of the old church, playing a mournful dirge that echoed through its decaying bones. It was a symphony of abandonment, each gust breathing life into the forgotten ruin. Dust floated through beams of moonlight, piercing the grime-coated windows, catching like ash in the cold air. And there, in the pews, sat figures, dozens of them, draped in white sheets, motionless. They looked like mourners frozen in time, patiently awaiting a sermon that would never be preached. Locals called it the Church of the Whispering Dead, a name born of folklore and whispered warnings. But I wasn't a local. I am Elias Tobias, host of the YouTube channel Haunted Histories, where I explored places time had abandoned. I wasn't just after ghosts. I chased the echoes they left behind. This crumbling cathedral, lost deep in the rural sprawl, had drawn me like a moth to flame. As I set up my camera gear beneath the rotting rafters, an unease crept over me. Not fear exactly, but a sorrow that seemed stitched into the very walls. The air felt heavy, thick with the weight of things left unsaid and unresolved. I moved carefully, the floor groaning under my boots. Each cloaked stuff seemed to shift with my gaze, like they were watching. A whisper touched my ear, so soft it might have been imagined. "Leave." I froze. A chill needled my spine. I tried to rationalize it. A draft, a creaking pew. But the cold that sank into my bones told me otherwise. It felt real, oppressively real. I pressed on toward the altar, filming as I went. The silence grew deeper, as if the walls were holding their breath. The figures in the pews seemed to lean ever so slightly forward. Then came a sound. Not the wind, not the structure settling, but a low, human moan from deep within the church. It vibrated with despair. I stiffened. This place wasn't merely abandoned. It was mourning. Every instinct screamed at me to leave. But the storyteller in me, the part that lived for the eerie, the unsettling, urged me to stay. One more shot, I told myself. Just one final angle to finish the narrative. I should have listened to that first instinct. Day passed. I left the church behind and returned to the comfort of my apartment. But the comfort didn't follow me inside. That night, and every night after, the dreams began. Terrible dreams. The white draped figures no longer sat still. They swayed, whispered. Their invisible faces turned toward me. Their voices grew louder, not with words but with longing. At first, I dismissed it as lingering tension from the experience. But then the unease followed me into daylight. I felt watched, haunted, even in my own home. Shadows clung to corners longer than they should have. My apartment grew inexplicably cold. The silence felt crowded. Then came the footage. As I edited the video, frame by frame, I noticed something impossible. In the background, just past my shoulder, in one wide shot, a shadow darted across the aisle. It was brief, nearly imperceptible, but it moved too smoothly, too intentionally, to be a trick of light. I froze. My blood chilled. I hadn't been alone in that church. The dreams worsened. The location shifted. It was no longer just the church. It was the graveyard. The one behind my building. A patch of forgotten earth tangled with weeds and ancient tilting headstones. I had always seen it as quaint. Nothing more. But in my dreams, it breathed. The ground shifted with malevolence. The headstones groaned, and at the center, A single grave stood fresh, the dirt disturbed and waiting. One night, the whispers left my dreams entirely. They followed me into the waking world, a low, persistent murmur at the edge of my hearing. "Come, join us." I fought it, clutched my ask until my hands ached, but the pull was relentless, like something calling home a lost piece of itself. My body moved before my mind could protest. I stepped outside, barefoot, into the night. The graveyard greeted me. The air was thick with rot and cold. The headstones shimmered faintly under the pale moon. I was drawn to one spot, the freshly dug grave. My pulse raced, throat dry. Then I saw them, the figures. All of them, the same shrouded forms from the church, now surrounding the grave like silent sentinels. They swayed gently in rhythm, like reeds in a spectral breeze. One, taller than the others, turned to face me. Though I couldn't see a face beneath the cloth, I felt the weight of its gaze. It raised a single skeletal hand and pointed to the ground. The whispers swelled into one mournful voice. He never escaped, the last one. He belongs with us. Terror clawed at me. Who? I rasped, my voice barely audible. The figure answered with a final whisper, one that stopped my heart, cold. You, Elias Tobias, the storyteller. You belong to us now. I stumbled back, tried to run, but my legs refused. The grave beneath me seemed to pulse. The earth softened, sucking at my feet like quicksand. I looked down. There it was, a headstone, freshly carved. My name etched into the crumbling stone. Elias Tobias. And beneath it, my channel's symbol, a stylized camera, faded, ancient, waiting. The realization hit like ice water. The church hadn't simply been haunted, it was collecting. Every story ever told within its walls was just another soul added to its congregation. And I, the fool chasing ghosts for clicks, had offered myself willingly. In trying to document the dead, I had given them me. The figures closed in, white sheets billowing like sails. I was swallowed by them, buried in cloth and whispers. The last sound I heard before the grave took me was the wind sighing through the trees and the whisper of voices triumphant. Welcome home, Elias.